Alright. Welcome back and a wonderful good day here. God's Shadow with Grixis Control. And before we get started, I just want to address a couple of things. First of all, I hope that the overall volume of this video is going to be higher than the last times around. I think I adjusted it by 10 to 15%, and I'll also try to speak a little louder. So both in aggregation should be sufficient, I hope, at least. So give me feedback on that and let's see if it's good enough. Then I was asked for a lot of things during the last couple of weeks, and my list is getting bigger and bigger. So after this video, I'm probably gonna try and finish my videos for a sideboard guide, as well as potentially showcasing a couple of other control decks, blue-red control, or blue-black control, or blue-white control, so just dual color control decks. Since many of you seem to be interested, yeah, I don't want to promise too much, but I'll probably get 1 or 2 videos about those out as well. So now to the deck list. I have settled on a version without Thought Scour and Tasker, but with 4 Bone Crushers, 4 Kolaghan's Commands, and 2 Brazen Borers. So the main board right now is tuned to beat basically anything that is attacking on the ground, either through creatures or through, I don't know, lands, not really. So with Titan, we really still have problems with this build. We can win the matchup, but we need a lot of our sideboard cards. So big mana is not the perfect matchup for us, but anything that is humans or tribal strategies or mid-range for that matter, we should be pretty alright against. But let's see. So other than that, the main board hasn't changed a whole lot, and since I talked about it a lot in the last deck tech, I won't go into it too deeply. Sideboard has changed a little bit. I added 2 Thought Seizes to complement 2 Inquisitions in the main board, and a Neil Spellbomb to complement the Ashok's, because I sometimes run into matchups either Lurus, but no other like fetches or whatever, so Texas decks, where I don't really want to board Ashok unless they also play Stoneforge Mystic, but if they play Stoneforge Mystic, they aren't playing Lurus, so there's a conundrum there. And therefore, I just wanted to have a little bit of a complement. And then there is Collective Brutality, a card that I don't deem to be super great positioned right now. Of course, it is decent against burn, but it's almost not useful anywhere else. And for that reason, I think Alright, I stopped recording again. So Dragonclaw might actually be better. I'm gonna cut the Collective Brutalities and bring 2 Dragonclaws in here. I'm not sure if it's gonna be sufficient, but we shall see. Alright, that's it for right now. Let's jump into a league. Alright, welcome to round number 1, and we're playing against Reggie, who I have played against a couple of days ago, I think. And if I remember correctly, he might be on 5-color Nif Mizzet, but I'm not 100% on that. Oh, no, this is a different deck, obviously, and apparently it is not capable of utilizing that Thoughtseize in the first turn. So this will be able to produce black. He's gonna play... So I assume that it is a Wyrza list that is just running 1 Ensnaring Bridge, because that's what they typically do. I do not necessarily need to... Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ensnaring Bridge here. We do play Kolaghan's Command, and I can of course also utilize the Snapcaster at some point. Gilded Goose. Interesting. So this seems to be a typical Wizard list. A deck that I have also talked about in Project Modern, as Mox Opal is legal there and complements the deck, of course, but I think it's generally underplayed in both formats. So now we know that he drew a Gilded Goose here, which means that he's probably going to be pretty slow this turn, right? Because he has to play that tapped and just a Chromatic Star and no additional ramp. So now the thing is, if I play the Bone Crusher Giant, he's going to crack the Chromatic Star and put that on black and then cast Fatal Push as well as the Thoughtseize. Therefore, I'm going to go with an Inquisition here first. Well, multiple Weirs. That's probably not too great for me. So I don't really care about Fatal Push, I also don't really care about the Thoughtseize, so I'm just going to go with the Weir of Invention and try to comboing off. Yeah. That's already pretty problematic because now he can utilize the Weir and he's already doing it. So I assume that this is going to be a Sword of the Meek. Okay. Alright, so the Cryptic Command isn't bad overall. Question is, do I want to protect my Brazen Borer or do I want to protect my Bone Crusher Giant? One of the two is definitely going to die. And Thoughtseize is probably going to take my Cryptic Command here. So I think I'm going to go with the Bone Crusher, as that's a little bit more clunky and I cannot utilize the other mode of the Brazen Borer if I play it as a threat here. Also, of course, in case he finds another combo piece in time, I can utilize the Brazen Borer to bounce the Foundry. And the second Weir of Invention was definitely a very decent draw there. Yep, that's what I expected. Yep. Now, of course, he's going to go after the Bone Crusher Giant here. Which is fine. Because now I can leave mana open. Alright, Goose is a little bit annoying as it provides a life if it's unchecked. So our mana is a little bit awkward right now. I could of course go after the Gilded Goose here, but if he draws an Urza, then I'm gonna be in big trouble. Alright, that's not the case. Therefore, I think... Oh well, I'll see and... see if he wants to attack here. So I'm gonna do this and this and this, and then petty theft this one, and kill the gilded goose. Of course, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to go after the Sword of the Meek in his hand. Okay, command is pretty decent though. So I assume that this is gonna be a Mystic Sanctuary to go with another Weir of Invention. Right, it's not interesting. Because otherwise he would have of course been able to go with Thopter Foundry. Yeah. Alright. So now we can get a little bit of life back, but he didn't shock there. Otherwise he could have gained another additional life. Oops. Yep. Gaining a bunch of life. Doesn't really matter. So now I think I'm just gonna play 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say he has another Weir of Invention here. 1, 2, 1, 2. How risky am I gonna play this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes, 3 open. 3 open. I could go for 4. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with another Snapcaster here. But not cast anything. Yeah. Metallic Rebuke. Yeah, that's fine. Actually good that we got rid of that here and made our opponent think that we don't have a counterspell. Alright, so now he's basically out of tricks and we have lethal next turn. And he finds a Thopter Foundry. Insane. Insane. Yeah, I don't really care because we do have lethal here. Still pretty insane. Alright. What? Taking the complicated route here. Alright, so we got there, game 1. But this is a complicated, a difficult matchup. Of course, it's not as bad as before because Astrolabe is not a thing, but it is still very difficult to navigate. And I assume that my opponent also has access to Veil of Summer here. A card that I would like to repeat should not exist in Modern. Alright, so Goblin Traitor Maker is in here because it's just an all-around good card. Can shoot Gilded Geese, can shoot Emery, it can get rid of a Golem, can get rid of, well, not a Thopter Foundry because it's not colorless, but basically anything else in their deck. Fatal Push, I think I'm going to take out. The card is decent. Well, maybe Fatal Push is better than the Terminate. I'm not 100% convinced on that. So Bone Crusher Giant goes out, and then we have to cut 3 more cards. 3 more cards. I think on the draw I could also cut the Jace. And potentially, no, I'm gonna cut the Brazen Borer and go with 1 Jace. Alright. Pretty slow hand, especially if my opponent starts the game with an Emery or a Gilded Goose. But that does not appear to be the case. Instead starting with a Thoughtseize, which definitely is very, very good as well. Pooh. That is not great. With the Inquisition I think we're good, but without Inquisition here we're probably way too slow. Oh. That's a goose. Now we basically have to refine a removal spell already, otherwise Urza is coming down next turn. I can scry 2 cards on the bottom. Alright. So now at least we can, or could, theoretically prevent an Urza from coming down. It's still not perfect, but it might be what we need here. Shit. Yeah, I cannot counter that. If our opponent does have Whir of Invention in hand, yeah, and it looks like that would be the case here, then I should have probably done something there. Alright, now we're in Cryptic Command range, but it's very possible that he does have a Whir of Invention plus a counterspell backup. Witching Veil, well, alright. Draws 2 cards. Problem is that I'm almost certain I'm running into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Should be able to counter it even if he takes this instance here. To act. The only question is if I go with a Snapcaster Mage and try to force the issue, that is still going to cost me badly. And if I try to go after the Thopter Foundry here, and he has a Wear of Invention in response, then we're still in a pretty bad spot. And if he does have a Veil of Summer, then we're fucked anyway, but that doesn't really make a difference. So I'm going to try it against better knowledge. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. But it is also only going to be 2 Thopters that he can generate. And then I can probably go and grab the Thopter Foundry with a Snapcaster. Has a Dispute as well. Well, yeah, then it's really, really good that I at least tried it here. Because otherwise, we would have definitely suffered. Okay, so there aren't many options that we have right now. I could, of course, bounce the Thopter Foundry and hope for a discard spell. Could also have another 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh. Alright, not what we needed, but at least we slowed him down a little bit. And next turn we can destroy the Thopter Foundry. Without that turn 1 Thoughtseize, we have him. But we have to be careful, like he's going to generate 4 more tokens. Potentially 5 with the Gilded Goose. And we don't really have the means to combat that. So let's just have a look, see what he does. At this point I don't think that we're really able to win this anymore. Because we're gonna die in 2 turns, and except for maybe a Plague Engineer, we don't have the means to respond. So I need to do it right now, because otherwise yeah, that is fair. Alright, so now 5 power on the battlefield. And I think the only out that we have is a Plague Engineer. Can survive for a couple of turns, so I think we are gonna see like 3 to 4 draws. And there is a reasonable chance for us to find a Plague Engineer first. Nonetheless, it is not looking good. Alright. And of course, whenever an Urza or another Weir of Invention hits the fan here, I mean, you can also go with the Mystic Sanctuary at that point. It becomes really problematic, because you can just fetch up another Thought the Foundry, of course. But he doesn't do that, which is interesting. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a Snapcaster. Snapcaster, Triptych Draw. If he does have a counterspell here, it's over anyway. But this way I at least can utilize. And we're just gonna tap and draw a card. Alright, Drownloch helps a little. Yeah, it's an Urza. So obvious. Ah, yes. So obvious that he finds top deck Urza. Alright, I think we're gonna kill the Urza. And then we're just gonna go with another tap draw. Whatever he has in hand shouldn't have changed, therefore I just expect it to be a bad card. So now Plague Engineer in combination with the Ashok would actually be fantastic. Let's see, so now we have 8 mana, so I'm still too short. So I can attack a little. I guess I could bounce my Snapcaster Mage and see another draw step. It's not great, of course. I could, of course, also go with like K command. But I can still do that later. My opponent could, of course, also just have removal spells in hand. But I think I have to risk it here. Return, whoops, not return and draw a card. Return and tap all creatures, yes. Yeah. So this looks to be a counterspell. Which would be fine because I know the last card is actively a dead card, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to stick with the Cryptic, which means I have to go against K command. I don't think so. Oh my goodness. Such a motherfucking retarded card. What a retarded fucking card. Alright, I'm gonna get the second Jace in. I kinda also wanna do have two Bone Crusher Giants. We're on the play, therefore. Cannot get rid of Plague Engineer. It's possible that I should cut the spell bombs. Our opponent does not even seem to play in Emery, so I'm gonna cut spell bomb. One failed push. And one lightning bolt. Now I'm gonna go with 61 cards. And of course the spell bomb, like, it is good against who? This is a risky keep. I also don't know what it really would be good against. Like, yeah, we can kill a turn 1 goose, but other than that, like, we're not doing anything. Okay, hand's a little better. I think. So I want to keep this. I want to keep the Jace. Probably have to ditch the Snapcaster Mage here. Because the Bone Crusher Giant is still a good removal spell and a good threat. And the Jace can replay the Thoughtseize, so I'm gonna go this route. It's possible that I have to be a little bit careful. Our opponent's on a mulligan to 5. It's possible that I have to be careful in regards to what I fetch for. Like, it might develop into being a race down the road. But I'm still gonna go down to 15 here. There's a Veil of Summer and the Thoughtseize. But he cannot play a turn 1 anything. So if I take the Witching Well here, he actually does not have any plays. Which is interesting. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. It's so fucking lucky. This little motherfucker. Fuck this shit, man. Fuck this shit, is that lucky. Fuck my life. Oh my fucking god. Fetchland off the top. Fuck you. Alright. Ivy just got our Jace down, I think. We're already in a position from where it's really, really hard to beat us. With 2 dead cards in hand, but well. Now it's the hard way. Right, Plague Engineer helps a little. And of course you cannot utilize the Veil of Summer as long as he doesn't have an artifact on the battlefield. And I'm going to be aggressive here. I'm going to counter anything that is coming down. Alright, Dark still, so still these two cards in hand. Okay. So I should probably go after the Veil of Summer right now, but what if he draws into an Urza here? I would potentially be able to kill it. The Goblin can take care of the Golem. I'm gonna do it. It's so fucking insane. Oh my fucking god. So fucking insane. Lol. Lol. Just insane. So, should of course be able to kill the Urza anyway. Huh. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. So I should kill it now. Alright. It's gonna slow me down, but it's the right call here. The right call to make. And then I'm gonna play the Bone Crusher. And then we're playing the Plague Engineer as backup. Alright, the bolt's not too bad. As long as my Bone Crusher resolves here. Because Spire of Industry potentially will cost him 1 or 2 life as well. Another Urza. This dude is fucking like so insanely lucky. Alright, so our Plague Engineer. Huh. It's a construct, yes. That will not save me from a Thopter Foundry though. Ah, yes. Let's see. Of course, if he also top decked. If he doesn't do anything here, then we're in a pretty good spot. Alright. Let's attack with everything we got. Yep. That is totally fine. Then I'm gonna wait for his turn and then I'm gonna go with the bolt. Everything as anticipated. But, like, just insane draws. Also, like, the sequence of the draws was just insane. What an insane game. Alright, GG's. Alright, welcome to round number 2 here. We have a difficult hand because both our tap lands are here and we can only act on turn 2. But I think it's still reasonable because we have both threats and answers in hand already. But this... yeah. So it's either a Stoneforge or a Druid combo deck. And I think both could be problematic. Let's see. So I'm gonna fire up the Scalding Tarn. Look for a 1-mana removal spell, preferably a Bolt. Nope. And... well, it would be okay in general, but our next couple of turns are going to be Bonecrusher Giant, then Kolaghan's Command, and then Tar Pit, like Brazen Mora potentially. I think I'm going to put it to the bottom in order to find a removal spell off the top. Because the earlier that I get the Tar Pits into play, the more efficient I can play the turns 3, 4, and 5. Dryad Arbor. What the fuck? Yeah, this is horrendous. Don't know what's happening here, but it's horrendous. So this obviously looks somewhat weird, right? I want to go get rid of the Dryad Alba, but I don't know what our opponent's really doing here. So I think I'm gonna wait. And then cast stuff in his upkeep. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, alright. So this is what I expected it to be. I think probably... yeah, Devoted Druid deck. Alright. So he's stuck on lands, which means if I go after the Noble Hierarch here, and then bounce the Druid or kill it with the K command next turn, we should still be in okay shape. Yeah, he seems to be stuck. No, not anymore. Alright. So next turn I can deploy my Jace and also bounce something. Which means I'm definitely going to go with the K command this turn. He could of course path his own creature, I guess, in order to get additional leverage here. So this matchup is insanely difficult to play nowadays. On the one hand, because my opponents are mostly running 4 Veils of Summer in this sideboard. Like, I have lost to 3 Veils of Summer on the stack. Three mana? Oh, great. It's the Lords of the Dream Den. Fantastic. Yeah, so this probably means that I have to kill Luris. and hope that my opponent doesn't have the ability to fetch multiple things here at once. I'm gonna go with the Torpid and leave my options as open as possible. See, this is what I mean. Like, as a creature, Lurrus is still good, but, you know, a net positive for the format and for any deck that is playing it. But as a companion, still, even after they fixed it, it's just an outrageous card. As a companion, it's just not okay. So yeah, Jace is so important because it makes our hand better, and it will also get us the removal spells that we need here. But apparently our opponent still has a couple of aces in his sleeve. Duskwood Recruiter, sure. So he had the combo in hand, actually. Alright, this is a pretty good draw. So I think I'm gonna fetch here for another red source. Activate the Jace. See what it does. I think I can just get rid of that. Then I could of course go with a K command. Make him discard as well. But that means my Jace is probably gonna die next turn. I can of course respond with a lightning bolt. So he's gonna activate it to find another creature here. Yep. Found another devoted druid. So it's very annoying. And it's possible that I have to let my Jace die here, although that's less than optimal. But the only option is to have him deploy the devoted druid. Yeah. So if I kill the Dryad now, I still have the Brazen Borer to delay the devoted druid for one turn, and can deploy the Bone Crusher Giant next turn and then have the Jace up again. I also do have access to the Creeping Torpid, so I think this is a decent play. Because I need to, like, the Jace needs to provide more value. Ideally, of course, more than once. Oh no. Not another Lurrus. What the fuck? 5 mana? What is going on here? It might be a Walking Ballista. But then you can only cast it for 4, I guess. Yeah. I guess it's a Walking Ballista for 4 here. Or not. Oh. Finally of Devastation. Alright. Ranger Captain. Alright. I mean, Ranger Captain is definitely decent, but not really neck breaking. as you cannot deploy the Giver of Runes yet. And now I have Logic Knot, which is also pretty good. So Ranger Captain cannot attack this turn. And I'm definitely going to use the Logic Knot to stop the Devoted Druid from coming down. Yeah, Give of Runes is annoying, but nothing that I can really counter here. I can bounce it next turn with the Brazen Borer, which will probably delay it long enough. Alright. Well, this is actually pretty good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to target a Lightning Bolt. If he wants to protect his creatures, so I'm going to do this right now. Then in response he's going to crack it. Then I'm going to go K command, kill the Giver of Runes, get back my Jace. And then play the Jace and have all the resources next turn again. And also hit for 4. And this really is what makes Bone Crush Giant so phenomenal. But this is a very, very difficult matchup for us. It's strange that Lurrus is basically an upgraded version of Eternal Witness these days. Yeah. Opponent knew that he couldn't win here, which is fine, I guess. So now, our objective is to basically play around Veil of Summer as much as we possibly can. How are we going to do so? So I'm going to cut all my counterspells, as I'm going to get outplayed with the Cryptics, etc. Crater Maker is pretty decent, Plague Engineer is decent. I could also go with Ether Gas, but that's not a permanent solution, which is problematic. I think I'm going to cut the Borrows, because racing here is pretty difficult, and I'm going to bring in the Spell Bomb as well. That should be what I'm going with. I hope that I'm recording here. Am I recording? Yes, good. Right. So, it's not gonna get any easier here. We need to have removal spells in hand. Better 2 than 1. And just depending on discard magic isn't enough, because our opponent could always start with a turn 1 don't do anything, play Veil of Summer. Plague Engineer has to hit humans, because that hits both Noble Hierarch and Vizier of Remedies. And other than that, Ashiok, of course, because of Lurus, and also because of Finally of Devastation, Ranger Captain, and a Ladamri Skull. Yeah, this is a hand that I want to mulligan. Alright, so now we do have removal spells. This I'm going to keep. And I think I'm going to cut the K command here. Alright, give off runes. No, Noble Hierarch, okay. So now the question becomes, if I kill the Noble Hierarch, he goes with a Druid. I think I still have to do it. Because otherwise, the possibility of running into a Veil of Summer is just very high. And he of course has to have a Druid in hand first. If he does have a Druid and also the means to get a Vizier of Remedies down here, then of course we're pretty fucked, but that is not the case, and that's pretty good. Burnt Forge Tender though, pretty bad for us. Pretty bad. That prevents a lot of what I'm planning to do here. Burnt Forge Tender alongside Veil of Summer is... But at least this card doesn't draw a card as well. Our opponent seems to be German, by the way. Alright, so this is weird. I assume that my opponent does have either a Veil of Summer in hand or an Eladrami's Call. I mean, the Bird Fortune doesn't do a whole lot right now, so I could let it live and just go with a Seven Visions here. I could, of course, also test out the Failed Push. See if he does have something important, but I think I'm going to go with Seven Visions, as we should not die next turn. And yeah, I'm going to go with this one. Alright. So I think now I can, due to the Barret Forge Tender here, I can probably do I want to play the Crater Maker? No, because next turn I would have access to Fatal Push and Bone Crusher Giant, just in case we are running into a Veil of Summer. Because this is certainly going to be another Dummy Skull. okay, I guess. So the playing pattern is pretty weird here. Didn't really do anything on turn. Is he attacking? If he's attacking with the Dryad, I'm not going to go with the Drowning Loch and instead go with the Bone Crusher Giant and kill whatever he is going to play. Yep, that's fine. Interesting. So I'm still going to try to Drown Loch this year, just to be more mana efficient next turn. Could very well be running into a bit of Summer, of course, but that's still fine. Oh, this card's so unfair. All right. So Jace, push. Gotta hit the Fortune the first, I think. It doesn't really matter, but could also go after his mana though. But that significantly reduces my options for the next couple of turns. Hmm. Yeah, let's do that. And I have to kill the Hushbringer because of my Snapcaster Mage. Because otherwise I won't be able to play Drown Loch there. I guess there's still an incentive for my opponent to go after my Jace here. With the Dryad Arbor. Sometimes I'm just dazzled by Wizard's ingenuity. Also, this card protects so many types of decks. Big mana, mid-range, control, combo, creature decks, anything. Also something that you actually don't see with any other card. Typically, there's only a small subset of decks that are running a specific card as a sideboard card. But let's see what our opponent's doing here. Don't know what's taken so long. Right, I think he's attacking. Good. That is good. So that means that he's probably only able to cast one spell here, right? Yeah. So now, the thing is, whoa, shit, that was actually a mistake. That was not what I wanted to do. Yeah, I'm still gonna go after it. I was just thinking about the Devoted Druid, and, well, if he does have another Veil of Summer here, then yeah. And this is what I mean, like, this is just so insane. This is so fucking insane. Nowhere near okay. And I can, like, maybe after this league I'll show some replays. Where I just ran into multiple Veils of Summer on the stack against a creature-based combo deck. That also generates a lot of value, of course. So, like, if you can't kill anything and you also lose the value game, like, what are you doing in these matchups? Like, it has flipped so tremendously, it's so insane. And this is a finally of Devastation, and now it's over. And there's just nothing you can do. It's just nothing you can do. And that's gonna get a Walking Ballista, and then it's over. And without the Druid here, like, it's all good. Yeah, we would have drawn into tremendous things here. Just insane. All right. The problem is that Aethergust doesn't really help against stuff on the battlefield, as Veil of Summer also protects it. But I assume that I could cut one of these to get another Thoughtseize in. Just to get some information on turns 1 and 2. Well, mulligan. Great. Fuck. Now, this is going to be a difficult hand as well, because I am dependent on what my opponent's doing. Like, super slow and somewhat redundant. So now if this is going to be a Giver of Runes, and it is, yeah, it's GG. Now I can't kill shit anymore. If I don't find... I guess this might help. Play this before a Veil of Summer's come down. Thrun. Alright. What the fuck is going on? 2 Eladrami's Call, a Path, and a Thrun. So I think... So, okay. So the 2 calls are pretty slow. And they're also redundant. If I go with a Thrun, I think I have to. Because I can't get rid of it, like, whatsoever. And it can regenerate, so... yeah. So let's hope it doesn't draw any creatures, because that would mean that I could kill the Giver of Runes first. Birds of Paradise. Alright. So look. Alright, now we really have to time this well. So we do have a couple of removal spells and our opponent does not have access to Veil of Summer yet. So I think I'm going to put both on top. And then I could get rid of the Give of Runes right now, then next turn go with Fatal Push and Chase. Pathing his own creature here is probably pretty decent. Yeah. Because that gets him straight to 4 mana. Which means Lavinia is a thing. Yeah. Alright. So now I basically have to wait for Drownalock to be online first. And since I know my next card, yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of the birds here. Hope that he's gonna draw a fetch land or something, so I can get rid of the Lavinia. And that is pretty bad for me as well. Shit. So there are multiple problems here. I could of course go with Noble Hierarch. And then next turn kill Lavinia. That is probably not sufficient here. Let's see if he's gonna go with the combo or not. I still have Trader Maker, of course, also interesting. Schools. Need to get rid of Lavinia first, though. So Schools is gonna have 2 mana to eat stuff. just so fucked that we have to play around Veil of Summer all the time. Otherwise, the matchup would actually be quite fun. Just fun to play. Alright, give off runes, I guess. Okay. Alright, so this means that there is so we shall see. Alright. I can target do want to get rid of the Crater Maker here. Not sure. Alright. So now I could, for instance, target the Fatal Push, see if he goes with the Ooze. Like, we know he has one unknown card in hand. Which could be anything, of course. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this one first. Kill the Scooze, see what he does. And then I would also like to get rid of the give off runes, of course. He's thinking about it. Alright. So I assume the two cards in his hand are no Veils of Summer. Could of course also go with a Thoughtseize, but I think Veil Push on the give off runes is actually where I want to be. Or Drawn Loch in this case, because that leaves me with a more mana efficient play down the road. Oh well, I guess. Alright. So I need to get rid of the give off runes first, right? The problem is if he does have a Lurus, then all this becomes quite obsolete again. But anyhow. We need to find a Plague Engineer or an Ashiok rather sooner than later. Fortune is a good one. Alright. So it's gonna be Eldrami's Call without a backup. I can activate Jace on the Burton Forge Tender. This is pretty decent though. Because this, as long as the Plague Engineer is on the battlefield, it prevents the combo. And it of course also gets rid of the Noble Hierarch without a lot of trouble. Human, please. Thanks. So Plague Engineer is good. We're still pretty short on mana. But our opponent, he's probably going to go with a Ranger Captain, I guess. That is his best value target, I would assume. Could also go with the Lurus, but then he needs additional mana first. And since the Burnt Forge Center protects whatever he's bringing down next turn, like if the card that he's bringing down isn't too important for us, I'm going to go with discard and return Bone Crusher Giant. I could also return the Goblin Crater Maker, of course. Oh, Loras, alright. Let's see. So Loras, of course, can only return creatures of 2 toughness or more, or less, to whatever. Yeah, I think I need to just get rid of it. Everything else is pretty annoying. And he apparently needs to get some things going here. So I'm going to attack right now. Because my Jace is up, I want to reduce his life total. Fourth land. So now we don't have any more information about his hand. Alright, that looks like a finally off devastation, right? Oh, it's Walking Ballista, alright. Yeah, Walking Ballista is annoying, of course, but also not too bad in this scenario. So I think I'm gonna target the Drowning Loch. Attack with the Plague Engineer. Play the Drowning Loch. If he doesn't do anything on the Walking Ballista, then he will probably kill my Plague Engineer. But then I have Jace up again. Alright, doesn't do anything. Could also go after the Burnt Forge Center, of course. But I think... Where is it? No. Still the correct call here. To go after the Walking Ballista. He's gonna kill my Plague Engineer. It should be difficult for my opponents to... Yeah. Find lethal here. So I'm gonna Fetch Shock for Blood Crypt, which puts me pretty low, but... whoops. Yeah. And the Forge Tender is still pretty annoying. As all of my removal spells right now are red. Alright, what is that? This time it's finally of Devastation, alright. And it's a Scooze. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Alright, so we need to go with a double spell here. Yeah, definitely don't want to have the Thoughtseize right now. Because he's going to sacrifice the Scavengers in response. The Bird Fortune in response to my Lightning Bolt. And then I'm going to go and hit the Scooze in his hand. Yeah. Which will leave him with absolutely nothing here. Birds of Paradise, sure. And we still have AK commands for the next turn and Jace as well, so I can get back the Plague Engineer. Shouldn't be able to do, yeah, alright, GG's. Welcome to round number 3. It is very early in the morning, and I just came out of the shower. Hand's decent, does have potential, but of course we're on the draw here if we're running into Neoform or something like that. Alright, but Snow-Covered Swamp probably means that we're playing against a Goblins deck. Which means I typically don't want to shock here. On the other hand though, I think I'm going to go with the one shock, leave the Scalding Torrent for the Jace at some point. Alright, Blood Crypt down, Terminate up. And if there's something important, I mean it could also be Death and Taxes, but I assume this to be Goblins, yeah. Alright, now we need to be careful, because this means that my opponent is able to kill my Jace off of a Munition Expert. And of course there's also the combo. So post board we do have Crater Maker, we do have Plague Engineer, we might even bring in Dragon's Claw, but we shall see. Inquisition. So one of the advantages of Goblins is that they do have a little bit of removal, and therefore do have a good, fair game plan, but also can disrupt combo to a certain degree. Alright, no attacks, interesting. Don't know why that would be the case. Alright, so it's a little bit problematic here because I could of course go Jace into the Serum Visions again. If I don't want to fetch here, I mean I can still fetch for 1 of course. But the Cascade Blast makes it a little bit awkward right now. But our opponent's apparently stuck on mana. And since there wasn't any Munition Expert here, I assume that he doesn't have a 2 mana play. And we'll start on 3 mana. I mean, this could be Conspicuous Snoop, of course, and we need to play around it because otherwise we're just dead next turn. So, yes. I actually need to play around Conspicuous Scoop. I think the only way to do that is by playing a Scalding Torrent here. And now I have to pass the turn. I could also go Serum Visions and then keep the Lightning Bolt up and see if he plays anything or not. Of course, he's going to be inclined to not do anything then. Yeah, this is going to slow us down. Significantly. Yeah. Yeah. So what's the card on top of his library? It's an ether vial. Well, that's okay, I think. If I wait for his turn, he can just combo off on the stack. Alright, so he's gonna draw an ether vial unless he goes with a Harbinger here and draws into another Snoop. Same goes for Goblin Matron, of course. Yeah. Alright. Munition Expert, yes, is annoying, but yeah, that's not gonna work out great. I'm gonna ditch the Logic Knot, doesn't do me any favors here. And this, of course, went horribly for my opponent. Like, he genuinely didn't play that well. I do understand where he's come from, though. Alright, so I think the play that I want to go with here, Serum Visions, look to find something that helps us play a Torpid. Keeping Jace around on the battlefield is also good, of course, especially if another card there would be something like a... I could, of course, also just bounce the Ether Vial. That would probably slow him down significantly. Our mana is a little bit awkward here. It really is. So it's not really worth it for me to go with any of my removal spells. Therefore, I'm just gonna take this up, Plain Island, and then in his upkeep I'm gonna go Bounce tab. This isn't perfect, of course, because it still allows him to play a 3 mana spell. But it's fine because 3 mana is still okay in comparison to like having to handle a Goblin Ringleader here. Alright, and also didn't do anything. So my Jace is gonna survive for this turn, which is good. Yep. War Chief. And even found another land for a vial. Alright. So let's go with Serum Visions. Alright, Failed Push is good here. I think I want to have a Cryptic on top as well. So since my Failed Push is gonna hit this Goblin War Chief here. Oh my goodness, this is really So awkward. All of this is so awkward. So do I really want to have the cryptic command, or do I rather want to have or find a creature? I think I'd rather go with the creature here. So I'm gonna go fetch with the Scalding Tarn for a Watery Grave. Play that tapped. Then do this on 7 visions. Oh my goodness. Brazen Borrow. Yeah, I don't think that Brazen Borrow does a whole lot here. So I'm gonna put that on top, and then we're gonna kill this dude. And then we're just gonna tick up. That doesn't leave us with a whole lot. Like, we have a Terminate on top, just in case. Like, I need to have removal in hand due to Conspicuous Snoop. But right now it's not looking good. I mean, it's just a bunch of 1/1s on the battlefield right now, of course. But that can change in any minute. Nah, there's no ring either. Well, this is even worse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to get rid of that before anything happens. Otherwise, we're already dead next turn. But now, I mean, even if we draw really, really good now, we basically have no way of beating the goblins this game. And I'll keep it short, because we'd go with Cryptic Loops to overpower him. I'll see one more card, I think. If we were to draw a Bone Crusher Giant here, then we might still have a chance, because we can take out 2. That leaves us with 4 damage a turn. Yeah. All right. Yeah, not having access to Kalitas here is really, really rough. So we're gonna go with that. This, I think I have to play the Dragon Claw just to gain a little bit of life, and could of course also go with Ashok just for just to prevent fetches. I do not know if that's worth it though. So let's go with this first and try to overtake him in the air. Goblin's probably one of the few matchups right now in Modern where Kalitas is actually decent against. Most matchup it doesn't do anything anymore, but against Goblins so good, and against Hardened Scales it's very, very good. Hardened Scales, of course, doesn't see a whole lot of play, but if it does, and you're facing down Hangerback Walkers without the ability to exiling things, then you know you have a problem. So obviously the Dreadclaw is just keeping us alive. It's not anything that we can count on, not anything that we can utilize to a great degree, but we have a lot of red spells, and I think I would have brought in Collective Brutality as well. Dragonclaw should be a little bit more potent if the game goes longer and we're trying to race. Obviously, we don't have access to cryptic commands now, so we have to beat them on the battlefield. So hands, decent, I would say. Yeah, let's keep. It's not great, of course, but we can strip an Ether Vial and our opponent is generally a little bit slowed down here, and then we have 2 Bone Crushers to follow things up with. That's actively good. I don't know if I want to take the Blood Moon here. Don't think so. Just gonna go with a Snoop. Because by the time the Blood Moon comes down, I can already go with a Snapcaster. And then I just want to have access to red anyway, especially with my 3rd Bone Crusher Giant here. So yeah. It's possible that I don't even want to go after that Blood Moon. Blood Crypts, alright, cool. So after... Do I want to have blue or black? So blue gives me Brazen Bora, which can lead to me. Black is probably more important. Yeah, let's go with black here. Also, of course, black gives me access to Plague Engineer. And we just find more blue stuff along the road. Now we're giving him the decision on whether or not he wants to go with the Blood Moon. Because he won't be able to play his double black spells at that point. So let's see if he does it. And if he doesn't, then we actually have a problem. Let's see. Oh, it does it. Alright, cool. Ah, neat. Neat. uh, that's so amazing. I love it. Alright, GG's. Yeah, that was pretty good. Let's see if he does that again. So on the draw, I'm actually inclined to take out the Jaces and bring in Aethergust. Because Ace is terribly slow. But we need to have the value, I think. It's possible that I want to cut the Brazen Boras for Fulminator Mages as well. Alright, let's think about this. I don't think I'm good. Yeah. Seems to be a hand that we have to keep. And that's an ether vial. No, a Skirk Prospector. Alright. So should I get rid of that already? Probably not, though. So I don't know if he cut the Blood Moons now. It is possible, but not very likely. I think I'm going to go with the Scalding Torrent here. See what he does with the Skirk Prospector. This is a War Marshal. Oh, it's a Snoop. Alright. Yep, 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 yep. Alright. So I think I can go with the Mountain here. Obviously it's not perfect. Well, we need to preserve our life total to a certain degree. Alright, cool. So I think I'm going to be a little careful here. I know that the card on top is an Auntie's Hovel, so he might be able to go with Ringleader here this turn already. And next turn, like if my Jace doesn't die next turn, I would have access to Lightning Bolt plus maybe Serum Visions plus something else. There's another Snoop. Yep. And Tarfire. Well, Tarfire is certainly pretty good here for our opponent. Snow covered stuff on top. I could also go with a Crater Maker here, but I think it's better for me to go with Terminate first. So I kind of want to have the Dragon Claw just to get a little bit of life back. And the Snapcaster Mage is decent, but not great. So what's the worst thing that can happen if I leave the Conspicuous Snoop alone? Probably kick a Jiggy on top, right? Because it gives me the ability to actually have a look at what he's gonna draw next. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. And if he's gonna draw a kick a Jiggy. No fucking way! Shit! Oh man. The problem is now he has additional mana this turn. Oh my fucking god. Alright, didn't utilize the Skirk Prospector here. But damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Kicky Jicky on top. Fuck. Alright, a Boggart Harbinger. Alright, finding a Goblin Ringleader. And Goblin Ringleader, of course, will refill his entire hand here, which is problematic. I'm inclined to kill the Skirk Prospector here. Goblin Ringleader can also find Tarfires I could, of course, also go after whatever he still has in hand, but I don't know how good that card is. Alright, let's go after the Scope Prospector here, because the more creatures he has, the more annoying it becomes. Now, hopefully, like less than 3. Cavern of Souls, Munition Expert, and another Goblin Ringleader. Yeah. Okay. So it's 2 damage anyway. So I'm gonna play the Dragon Claw right now. He's probably gonna go with another Ringleader here. I assume. Goblin Ring Matron. Oh, it wasn't a Goblin Ringleader? No, it was a Ringleader, right? Goblin Matron. Okay. Yes. But that will, of course, find another Ringleader. Conspicuous Snoop. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Alright. So Dragonglaw is putting in some work here. Hmm. Yeah, Thoughtseize is really bad for us. Like, really, really bad. Hmm. So I cannot really play the Goblin Crater Maker right now. Alright, that's just an Ether Vial. I need to put this on auto resolve. So the good thing about, I mean, he has to take the Snapcaster, obviously, but the good thing about Goblin Crater Maker is that it will most likely still be a 2-for-1. Unless... Oh my goodness. He's gonna get another Ringleader on top. Oh. And I don't have any means to stop it from happening. Yeah, didn't think so. Like, he would have had the opportunity here to go with the Munition Expert, of course, first. This is really... Like, these loops are really, really difficult to deal with for us. But that's just a Snoop. That is pretty good. So we can block one, kill the ringleader, or kill the Harbinger, I guess. Do this. I think both are equally bad for us. So the question is, do I kill the conspicuous snoop? That's a real question here. And I think I probably have to. Because that's the last snoop that he has access to. And, well, the fatal push is annoying, of course, but not too bad. Alright, down to 11. The problem is that the munition expert will kill my goblin, my bone crusher giant. But don't find an inquisition on top. So now there's, well, that's actually pretty good. Not the Bogart Harbinger. So Bogart Harbinger will mean that there's going to be another Goblin Ringleader. But on the plus side, if I take the Munition Expert, I mean, you can always find a new Munition Expert as well, of course. But it will cost him a little bit of time. If we find a Snapcaster or a K-Command in between, we can still get there. Could also put a Kiki-Jiki on top and then just activate the ability on Bogart Harbinger over and over again. So it feels like Bogart Harbinger is the correct pick here. But on the other hand, I'm going to go with the Munition Expert and play the Bone Crusher. We have a lot of really good top decks. Any Plague Engineer. Yeah. So now the question becomes, what does he put on top? I think the best card to put on top is actually Kiki-Jiki. Yeah. Yeah, and we got punished. Now this is bad. Because now he's just gonna copy Goblin Matron and fetch cards. Lol. Okay. Alright. So the thing to play here is, can of course copy the Goblin Matron as well. But then I cannot stop the Slinga Lieutenant. So I have 7 mana available to me right now, and I cannot make a mistake here. If I go with Snap, K command, kill Kiki-Jiki, get Bone Crusher Giant back. That would be something that I could do. That would leave him with Slingang Lieutenant, which will stand for at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leeches. We'll get a little bit of life back in between due to Dragon Claw. So if I wait into his draw step and kill Kiki-Jiki and the Goblin Lieutenant, he's just going to copy the Goblin Matron, which means we're going to take 2 damage and probably face a Ringleader. Which means 4 damage plus I don't know how many cards. I killed this one with a Bone Crusher, I have a blocker on the battlefield, then it's just 3. Oh man. Yeah, I think I have to act now. This provides me with the most value. Plus I can go after the Slinging Lieutenant when it comes down. Provide me with another life. And then... I mean, any... can of course sacrifice himself. But I still need to go after it. Oh. Alright. Yeah. So now 3 versus 3 on the battlefield here. Oh man, yeah, that's good. That is good as well. Return and discards. Alright, Cavern of course not the best card to return here, but... and this way we still have the Creeping Torpid up. Yeah. Which is what I thought would not happen. Okay. Okay, so same procedure as every year. Snapcaster. K commands. Return and discard. And we're returning this one. Right, this time we have a Cavern of Souls again. That's not good. We're just hitting the bad cards here. Alright, let's just kill the matron. Take 2. We're down to 9, and then now we can put on a race. Especially with that as well. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the Brazen Bora open here for just a turn. I can take away one of these goblins again. Now he draws a creature, of course. The munition expert. Alright, now it's going to be interesting. He's definitely going to focus down the Bone Crusher Giant. Alright. Alright. No. And now we're in a good spot here. Now we are in a really, really good spot. Oh, yes. Now it's over. But man, it was a tough fight. Man, it was a tough fight. GG's. Woohoo! Alright, welcome to round number 4 of this very, very insanely close league so far. I think we can keep here. We do have decent turn 2s and a lot of power. Always depends on what our opponent's bringing, of course. Well, Blooming Marsh, of course, makes me think of a failed push. So let's go over the options here. If my opponent does have a Tarmogoyf turn 2 but no fetch land, then I can kill it with a Bone Crusher Giant, because that doesn't put any cards into the graveyard. If there's a red and 6, what else is playing Blooming Marsh? Yeah, I think I'm going to keep up my cards here close to the chest first. See what he does. Right, it is John's, but some sort of fetchless version. So what's the worst 3-mana play? Actually, this could be Living End. Now that I think about it, this could actually be Living End. And if it were to be Living End, but it would have already cycled something, right? Alright. Not gonna do anything. Still observe. Because typically John doesn't play Blooming Marsh. It's possible, I guess, but like it's counterproductive with Ren 6. Alright, so now it's not Living End anymore. Neil Spellbomb, alright, cool. I'm super confused by what's going on here. Super confused. So I assume that he's just going to crack the Null Spellbomb to get a little bit deeper into his deck. And as a shit. Now I have to see if yeah, now I'm recording again. So what do you mean? I cannot use my spacebar, therefore so I guess there's a lot of Bloodbraid Elves or something. So would like to use the Serum Visions here, but I'm just gonna play this tapped and pass the turn. I know that he doesn't have more lands in hand. But he's pretty patient with that, Neil Spellbomb. Something should happen soon though. He's 8 cards in hand and no land drop. Yeah, Grixis of course rewards, like has a high skill cap on the one hand, on the other hand you have to know the metagame. So I don't blame anyone for not winning with Grixis control. You always have to readjust your deck list, know what's going on in the meta. What the actual fuck is going on here? What the fuck is going on? I mean, it doesn't have Delirium, so it's as good as any, but I don't want to reveal information, so I'm just going to counter draw here. Alright, there we go. And if it's not a land, of course, then my opponent hands a Mishra's Bubble. Okay. I still do not have a clue what is actually going on here, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a Bone Crusher Giant here and Jace as well. So Mishra's Bauble tells me that my opponent's probably playing a Lurrus list. Now he has to deal with these two threats in some way or fashion. Which means that he probably cannot deploy a Ren and 6 and also protect his cards here. Okay. Abrupt Decay. It's a little bit annoying. Let's have a look. So I think I'm gonna put these Serum Visions on top as well, and the Brazen Borer as well, so that I can, like, if I use the Cryptic command this turn, I have a lot of options next turn. He's gonna take my Cryptic command anyway, and if he does have a Ren and 6, I can still kill it or bounce it. I guess that's a Ren and 6, right? Yeah. Another Inquisition of Thoughtseize here. No Spellbomb. Interesting. So I guess I go return and deal 2 damage. Interesting. Then I'm gonna have a look at with the Serum Visions first, because if I draw a Lightning Bolt, so K command doesn't seem great right now. Just in general. But I'm still gonna put it up. Ren 6 alongside Battle Summer, probably the most hated card of mine in Modern right now. Yeah, sorry mate, I cannot reply right now because otherwise I stop recording. Very aggressive with this, spell bombs here. That's fine. We do have a Terminate on top, so I can kill both. But I can't really do anything else here. Which is a little annoying, of course, but... So no... So in terms of cards, we're still a little ahead. We have 5 cards in hand. With that, Bone Crusher Giant, the other Bone Crusher Giant also has another mode, of course, and we have a K command on top as well. Yeah, thought so. That is fine because I can just bounce it and deploy my Bone Crusher Giant as well. Alright, so we're going to be looking for another Serum Visions apparently. So Bone Crusher Giant's coming in. Or is it? No, it is. I could of course also get my Snapcaster Mage back, but I think this is reasonable. Problem of course is that these Tormagoyfs are huge, and taking a hit here would put me down to 7, which in it by itself is already a pretty big issue. My goodness, so many abrupt decays. Interesting. And this is going to be a long match, I think, so I need to be careful with time. We're already 45 seconds up over our opponent, but still. It is potentially problematic. Oh, Liliana. So I could kill the Liliana here. Let's see what we have. I think I want to have both, to be honest. The Fatal Push for Tarmogoyf and the lightning bolt to get him. So my logic knot is not too bad anymore. I can utilize the fetch to grow my logic knot, but not fetch anything, so that my card is on top. Do not do anything. Is that so? Can I refuse to fetch? I don't think so. So am I going to kill it? If I do, I don't have any more mana, but I do have a solution to the Tarmogoyf anyway, therefore I think I'm going to do it. I could have also waited for one turn, of course, but I think this is fine. Yeah, Thoughtseize is a little annoying because it's going to take the Kolaghan's command, pretty sure. But he's down to 9 now. And does not have another Tarmogoyf here, which overall is positive. So I guess that he is capable of killing my Bone Crusher Giant if he wants to. But that will cost him 2 life again, and therefore... So now I think I'm going to protect the queen here. I need to get rid of this 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. Whoops, that was 1 too many. Alright, so down to 7, down to 4, single fetch, and he's dead. And he has to deal with 2 threats, plus a lightning bolt. So I'm gonna fetch first here, I think. Just get a basic island. Play the Brazen Borer, and the reason being that I don't want to shock, and what I also don't want to do is be caught by a K command with my pants down and the lightning bolt still up. So he does have some sort of removal. I assume it's a K command here that he wants to utilize, and he's figuring out whether or not. Alright. He wants to go after my hand or not. That probably means that his other card in hand is also a removal spell. I mean, it can't really be anything else, right? Alright, cool. Alright, so we have a slight advantage in terms of time, but it will be a rough game here. It will definitely be a rough game. So Brazen Borer is going to go. I want to have nil Spell Bomb. I guess I could be thinking about Aether Gust. I assume some sort of trickery is going to come our way, either a choke, a boil, Fulminator Mage is not so much. And of course we somehow have to deal with Ren and 6. So I think I'm going to cut the Jace and go with 1 Aether Gust. Did I say Ren and 6? Jace runs Prodigy, of course. Okay, it's a keepable hand. Opponent's on a mulligan. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I am gonna go and keep up the lightning bolt here in order to kill a turn 2 Ren and 6. That's my, like always, my #1 priority. If I cannot deal with a Ren and 6 instantaneously, it provides so much value for my opponent that it's just gonna outgrind me. And there we go again. This card is so fucking obnoxious. I just... Oh, I cannot even put it into words. I hate this card so much. And of course there are people going to be like, oh, it doesn't do anything in certain matchups. Yeah, great. So does removal and whatever. But this card is so difficult to remove. And always provides value. Always. Like, it's not dependent on your opponent, it's always dependent on your deck. Alright. So we're down to 14. I've been a little aggressive here with the fetches, I think. But we shall see. I also think that my opponent's playing too many fast lands. Like, the Blooming Marsh was really, really strange. Let's see if we're running into a Veil of Summer here. Nope. Abrupt Decay and Terminate. And Whispers of Emrakul. Interesting. So, well, the other two aren't doing anything in the short term. Whispers of Emrakul, of course, is somewhat annoying. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. And just wait it out for a bit. No need for us to play anything into his removal spell and lose a lot of velocity. We also have good removal for Tarmogoyf. I haven't seen a Bloodbraid Elf yet. Alright, so that was an additional land source. So you might have recognized here that in this matchup I'm actually always using both sides of the Bone Crusher Giant. Like, I seldomly go and just play it face up. Reason being that this is, of course, a value matchup. And I will always want to be ready to like catch off a Ren in 6 over like 1.5 turns, or a Bloodbraid Elf with the other side of Bone Crush Giant. And of course this way, I mean, it's still 4 damage and a 1-for-1, right? So just still insanely good trades here. This card is so good. So good. Alright, so now our opponent gets a little bit unlucky with the lands, I'm not gonna lie. And even if he had a K command here, well. So I'm gonna go with this because that leaves me more options in terms of Logic Knot and Fail Push. And it doesn't appear that he has another removal spell here. Season Pyromancer is insanely annoying. But that also means that whatever he still does have in hand is probably not too great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 7, I guess. Because with the Snapcaster Mage, like if I draw a, there's not a lot. Oh, good. Oh god, I actually didn't see that swamp there. Alright, this is just the activation, which is fine. Like if I really wanted to go after him here, I could of course just kill both and attack him, but we have so many good options here in hand that I don't think that's necessary. Season Pyromancer there was definitely good, like something good to have. Alright, played another swamp, so nothing that I really have to concern myself with. And yeah, so opponent Aiden, if you're watching this replay, I'm really sorry that you drew so many lands. It was rather unlucky, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't want to be presumptuous, of course, you can still win. So I cannot counter this anyway, so I'm just gonna go with the draw step K command, return and discard. And if it's not anything good here, it's just a Bloodstained Mire again. My goodness. Yeah, so again, like I assume they were typing something out and were expecting my answers, but it's really awkward for me to write in chat while I'm recording because I like do use the spacebar even if I do not want to, but I guess I still got back to all your responses there. Alright, GG's, opponent, and off to round number 5. Alright, welcome to round number 5 here. We're currently 4-0 and are playing a very, very, very interesting league, in my opinion. So we're going to keep this. Hand's not perfect, but Cascade Bluffs actually improves it by a lot. So that we can play all of the cards in our hand right now. And are probably also able to play most of the cards that we're going to draw. And we need another land for Cryptic Command anyway. And since we're only playing 2 other non-blue sources in our deck, it's very unlikely that... Oh no, it's Dredge. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh fuck. Oh, this is bad. To round it up, we're facing Dredge. And Dredge, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, so this is gonna be a very, very, very difficult matchup for us. I said it before, I'll say it again. Oh my goodness, 2 Stingray Dips. Yeah, alright. Alright. So I can give him the prize amogram back to hand, I guess, by the end of turn. Because that's where it's best. But he also, like, playing Smiting Helix here. Alright, let's Petty Theft here. Because that will probably lead to him giving something back next turn. So I want to deploy my Brazen Motor first. And then I need to go find Cryptic Commands. Therefore, I'm going to play the Cascade Bluffs and just pass the turn. And then next turn I'm going to play the... Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, Creeping Chill. Makes it close to impossible to raise this. It's attacking with both, interesting. Does have a Gemstone Mine, therefore. Probably a Stinkweed Imp here. Oh no, it's another Catharic Reunion. Or just the Ox activation. Alright. Yeah, I guess that's fair. The Ox itself doesn't do anything, but yeah. No triggers? Lol. Alright, so let me see first. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is all bad. This is all bad, bad. So I don't see any... Oh, the Smiting Helix is also fucking hilarious. Yeah, I don't actually see a way for us to get out of this. This matchup is just so fucking bad. I mean, it's bad for any fair deck. Unless you're mainboarding a lot of graveyard hate. There's another Ox as well. There's a Conflagrate, alright. Yeah. This is not it. Alright. So Fatal Push is gonna go. Doesn't do anything in this matchup. Need to have Ashiox. I want to have Neil Spellbomb. I want to have Plague Engineer. I kind of want to have Aethergus as well. And then... This matchup is so horrendous without Grixis Jailer. I think I'm going to cut all my K commands and go with the Dragon's Claw instead. The only reasonable card to play K command against is Shrieking Shriekhorn. Alright, so hand's decent, can't complain. All depends on how fast our opponent is. Nope. Yes. I have seen the Veil guy haggle. So let's hope that he doesn't have, yeah. Fetching in my second main means that he does have access to haggle here. Because if he does have Stinkweed, it's just a life from Loam. Still hitting a Stinkweed though. So this draw step is probably going to be pretty decent. But if he just goes with life now, then we are in a decent spot, I think. Because all his fetch lands don't do anything anymore. He needs to have a Catharic Reunion. And put a lot of power onto the battlefield. Alright. This is fine. So let's fetch for a Blood Crypt tapped. Move to our turn. Clean up. Discarding a Stinkweed, sure. Suck. Ashiok. And fuck you. There's a Creeping Chill as well. And now our Plague Engineers can basically beat anything on the battlefield. Especially this way. Let's go with the Cascade Plus. Go red, red. Kill that. Go Ashiok. Plague Engineer. And what do I want to name? Stinkweed is an imp. Chrysomogram is a zombie, but that doesn't do a whole lot. But this thing does, yeah, alright. So that means that we're going with zombie here, with zombie, yeah. Because that way I can, like, if I put both on zombie, I could also go with Narcomoeba, I guess. But this allows me to play around these guys. There's no Bloodghast in here. And that's already saying something, right? That's quite insane. Like, Dredge has replaced Bloodghast. I'm about to sneeze. It's possible that I'll be off in just a second. Oh, that is actually rough. That is actually rough. Alright, so let's attack. Of course, it does have access to another Smiting Helix there as well. I don't really need double black. Therefore, I'm doing it. I'm just gonna go with zombie again. Zombie. Because otherwise you can just shoot whichever cards he has in hand. I can kill this guy before, like if he plays it now, I can kill it before it causes any problems. Yeah. And I guess the best play here, if he doesn't have anything else to do, is actually life from loam, killing the gemstone mine, getting it back, and having a dredger in the bin. That's actually pretty decent. So we only milled over one creeping chill. I hope that means that our opponent does have a couple in hand, which he at least has to. Oh, interesting. So that probably means that there is going to be a Merchant of the Veil. We are going to attack into Redwood because we don't have anything else to do here. Right. And now he's going to try to rebuild as fast as possible. Golgari Thug. Alright. Yeah. Something went wrong. It wouldn't even need to do this actually. I can just go. Oh my goodness. Okay. Got there. So he can put the thing on top. So I guess no, I have to stop it from dredging though. So I assume it's possible that my opponent does have more lightning helixes, which he could use here to get rid of my Ashok. Alright, so off to the last match, last game in the last match here. So Inquisition's not great, of course, but it's also not super bad. I think I'm going to keep one Inquisition around and go with another Dragon's Claw. Nope. Yeah, I'm going to mulligan into Oblivion here. I don't care. Alright. So this is going to go, and this is going to go. And then we'll see where we end up here. Obviously, a Spellbomb alone isn't doing enough. And if we had slightly more lands, that would be beneficial. Oh no, oh no. So now it comes down to lightning bolts. Okay, cool. There's an Ox. I assume I don't have to shock here. can save a little bit of life. Doesn't really matter, like as soon, like he wouldn't take out his lightning helixes, etc. because of how bad that would make the silver moat ghoul. But we do have a lot of damage now. So most likely this is the ox. And he does have, yeah, alright. GG's. I don't honestly think that I can beat this. Yeah, alright. That's not too bad though. That is not too bad. So I can't shrink the zombies. Kill all of those. It doesn't have a dredger in the bin. And I can block the ox, which makes me take 3 damage. Which of course isn't great, but better than taking 6 and just being dead to whatever. So let's say we were to find Nashiok here off the top. I could still go and block the prize amogram. So this is probably a Gogri Thug. No, it's actually even better. It's conflagrate. Alright, so the only out that we have here, and this is all going to depend on... Okay. Now it's actually over, I think. Still going to kill the prize amogram and keep the logic knot up for a potentially lethal conflagrate. But if he finds anything here, yeah, such as an Archamoeba, now it's just over. Like, this is not working on the same axis as we are. And the problem is that, of course, at this point, I mean, if we had access to the Needle Spellbomb, I actually think we had a decent shot here. But that Thoughtseize got us. Nonetheless, we put up a good fight. And I think all of what we did here was reasonable. Alright, so now how do we kill him? Okay. GG's. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my content. I think this was a very, very intriguing league, even though our last matchup was against Dredge. I will also, like, I had a couple of really decent matchups this week, therefore I might add 1 or 2 videos. Onto this video, onto this league. Those are just going to be replays because I didn't record before now. But anyhow, I think like at least 2 of those were show worthy. So I hope you have a good weekend. We do have a CVC Community versus Council tournament tomorrow that we are going to stream if you want to check that out. As I already said before, if you want to engage in Project Modern, that is also very welcome. If you want to become my Patreons, that is always the best option you can possibly do and is very much appreciated. I utilize the money to, on the one hand, of course, support my channel. On the other hand, though, to give money back to the Magic community, so I use it as prize money for other players to win. So there's not anything going into my own pockets. And yeah, so I thank you overall for all your support, and to those claiming, like below my last video, some people were complaining about me just stitching together a couple of wins and then, you know, selling it as a league. To those I can just say, so first of all, I'm like 99% of the times I'm just uploading full-on leagues like this time around. On the other hand, from the beginning, in the short description, I posted that it was a variation of leagues that I put together, and it was also 6 matchups. Therefore, you could have like figured out that it wasn't an actual league by the get-go. But yeah, that's just that. So have a wonderful weekend and a good next week. See you guys around. Alright, so this is what I believe to be the matchup that I thought about when I said I wanted to add a couple of videos or replays to the current league. And this one was very, very interesting. I think it's against Cruel Ponza, yes, it is. And I'm not going to narrate too much because I just want to show you what I actually did in this matchup and how close it was. So we got Blood Moon on turn 2, but do have a lot of like access to a lot of Bone Crusher Giants here, and also have Swamps out. But our opponent is aggressively going after. Like, he was a little bit lucky here. Yeah, finding 2 pillages in a row, which was super annoying. Because Ponza isn't actually playing so much land hate anymore, right? But here it really set us back. I could have already done a lot with the amount of mana that I had access to before, but and then, you know, goes into a Seasoned Pyromancer as his last card. Just then here we got a little lucky finding the island, of course, but just from yeah, just filling up his hand over and over again here all of the time, and it is very, very annoying indeed. So now I attack, trying him to force him to, yeah, double block. I kill a lightning bolt, kill 1 creature with a lightning bolt. Therefore, yeah, getting rid of basically all of the stuff that he just put onto the battlefield. But then immediately goes on to finding a Clothis, so now it's a full-on race. But our Bone Crusher Giants are not done yet. That Clothis will take a little bit of time now to resolve, and of course he still does have the Seasoned Pyromancers in his bin. Hand finds another Bloodbraid Elf, so lots and lots and lots of value. I mean, this is game 1, this is already rough, but this is just the introduction to what is going to happen in game 2. Going with the lightning bolt here. I think I'm killing, yeah, the Arbo Elf. Alright. Takes another 2 damage. I keep up the Drown Loch to just counter whatever he could be doing. And then I think this should do it. I could have, of course, also just went with the Drowning Loch, but he still does have a Seasoned Pyromancer in the bin. Therefore, right. So now off to game 2. So this is game 2, and my opponent just went haywire with the hate cards. Turn 1 Arbo Elf, which is fine. We don't have access to red. I actively kept a hand that does not have access to red, but does have access to a lot of basics, but now we're getting choked. Like, basically immediately. And Seasoned Pyromancer, and we've already fallen so far behind at this point. Of course, I do have the Brazen Borer, but it doesn't give me anything yet to balance the choke. So I'm patiently waiting on the Brazen Borer and just go and try to leverage the means I have to reduce the available mana for him. So now I of course know that my island does not untap or will not untap anymore. This is an interesting play. So Anger of the Gods on both. And now there's a Seasoned Pyromancer, and that was the opportunity that I had been waiting for. Now, because now I can bounce the choke to free up my slots here again. And now I also have access to red, finally. Yeah. And hit another Seasoned Pyromancer, so perfectly timed Kolaghan's command there, otherwise he would have just kept drawing stuff. And now I can start putting some big beaters and value on the battlefield. And this is the reason why I had to do that. Of course, is a braid there is quite lucky, but I had to do it to just being able to block all these elementals. So the Cryptic command can of course come in handy at some point. I think I'm gonna kill, yeah, right. Kill something here, get the Bone Crusher back. And now I just want to keep up my mana for the Brazen Borer. And now we're getting Blood Moon. And now is the focal point here. So my decision is to go with a Brazen Borer instead of going with a Cryptic command. And just trying to outrace him. My opponent does have 4 creatures. I'm going to kill 1 with a Lightning Bolt to buy myself another turn. And then next turn I can go Bone Crusher and find another Lightning Bolt off the top. And he does have another Lightning Bolt as well to get rid of my Bone Crusher. Which of course, like I did there because I wanted to have it dead on the next turn. And finds a Bloodbraid off the top, which also finds a choke, so my island is dead now as well. But because I killed the 1 elemental, this is only getting me down to 1. And I actually have lethal in hand now, due to Bone Crusher providing those beats. Alright, that's it for today. Just wanted to showcase like how much hate and how much value is sometimes happening, and how you can still play around it. So I was a little bit smug here, but yeah. So getting rid of all of these cards that my opponents threw at me without being able to actually cast a Cryptic command is actually quite the achievement. So just wanted to showcase that as well. So have a good week again, and see you guys around.